All that for a stinking tie, huh? Wow. What a game, though. What a game. Welcome, everybody, to the Sunday Night Postgame show here on the Rec Room Sports Network. I am AP, Alan Perales, and my God. That's all I could say. What a game, man. Like, Green Bay almost. Let's be honest. They should have lost that game. Based on what happened on that final sequence, they should have lost that game. Thank God that ball hit the ground with 1 second left. Otherwise, they lose that game. Man, a 40-40 tie. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Amazing game from both sides. Both offenses were great. Defensively, both teams struggled a bit at dealing with some injuries. Micah was basically a non-factor the entire game. They talked about him more as far as storyline as than they did in the actual game. He did have the key stop on Dak there in overtime, though, to make sure the Cowboys didn't get a touchdown, which kind of saved Green Bay the game. So Micah did have the immediate impact right at the end there, but otherwise a quiet night for him. George Pickens have a night. Romeo Doubs have a night. Dak Prescott have a night. Jordan Love have a night. Like, holy cow, what a game this was. It is the second highest scoring tie in NFL history. Like, I feel like it was a letdown. Like, that ending was just a letdown to what was otherwise a fantastic game. Like, I did not expect Dallas to be in this game at all. I did not expect them to be in this game. I thought we were going to lose by, at least 2 or 3 touchdowns. Defense was going to play awful, which, they did. But, a couple big plays from them. The blocked extra point kind of turned the game around and kind of got us back in it. The forced fumble by James Houston gave us the halftime lead. And then it was just back and forth. Great second half. Offenses were firing on all cylinders. It was a stressful game as a Cowboys fan watching it, but in the good way. At least I'm not, depression drinking right now. So, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better game to have on a prime time. I mean, again, the ending was a little disappointing because there wasn't a winner. But in a game like this, you could say you're good with a tie, because the tie, at the very least, it's like, okay, nobody won, but in the end of the day, nobody lost, and both offenses played great. Oh, boy. Let's take a look at this game, shall we? 40-40 final in overtime. Box score, we'll take a look at the Packers side first, because that was an insane stat. Jordan Love, 31 for 43, 337, averaging 7.8 yards a pass. He was sacked once in this game. It was a 12-yard sack. He had 3 touchdown passes, all of them to Romeo Doubs. Josh Jacobs, 22 carries, 86 yards. Emmanuel Wilson, 8 for 44. He was a big factor. 164 yards rushing for the Packers in general in this game. Offensively, they played great. Josh Jacobs, their leading receiver, 4 catches, 71 yards. Romeo Doubs, 6 for 58 and 3 touchdowns. Matthew Golden, 5 for 58. Tucker Kraft, kind of a quiet night for him. Other than that, Green Bay, great job. They did have the 1 turnover there at the end, or towards the middle of the game. That again, that second quarter was nightmarish for the Packers, and it allowed the Cowboys to get back in. And it pretty much from there on then just became a back and forth game. Looking at the Cowboys side of things, Prescott 31. Much like Jordan Love, 31, 40, 319, 8 yards of play, 3 touchdown passes. He was technically sacked once by Micah for no yards lost. It was a no gain. I guess they called it a sack. So okay, whatever. Javonte, another big game for him. 20 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Flournoy had a carry for 12. Miles Sanders went out of this game early on, so it became the Javonte Williams show for the majority of the night. George Pickens, what a night for him. 8 catches, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jake Ferguson, 7 for 40 and a touchdown. Jalen Tolbert, that amazing catch there at the end that set up the Cowboys go-ahead field goal in overtime. Man, what a night. What a night. James Houston with the forced fumble and the fumble recovery on defense that kind of swung the momentum back in our favor and kept us in this game tonight. Overall, great showing from both sides on the offensive side. Defensively, there were some things that I liked, some things I don't like. I'm still not a fan of Kaiir Elam. I don't know why he's out there. I get it. We are thin at cornerback due to the injuries. But the moment we get guys back, please do not put Kaiir Elam out there. It is hard to watch. He gave up all 3 touchdowns tonight to Romeo Doubs. So I do not want him out there. Hopefully Bland will be 100%. Hopefully Diggs will be 100%.
Hi, this is Jerry from Dallas. How you doing, everybody? Did you like the game?
A tie? A tie?
Listen, here it was. He's not winning, but I'm not losing. So let me kick this field goal to win. Really? Come on, Matt LaFleur. What are you doing, buddy?
They should have lost that game. They got lucky on the bounce on that last pass. That was poor clock management there at the end.
They did. But here's the problem I have with the Cowboys. Great game by Dak. Phenomenal game. But you're throwing to Ryan Flournoy, Hunter Lemke, and Miles Sanders when you need to throw to Ferguson, Pickens, or Tolbert or Turpin. And that's where the problem is right now with no CD. That's why they need CD back in the worst way. Because you can't be throwing to these guys in crunch time. Ryan Flournoy? The only time you see him is in the preseason.
He had a good game. He had a good game.
He did. But when it comes to crunch time, I would rather put my money on Jake Ferguson and George Pickens.
Yeah,
that's where I would put my money.
I think the tackle there by Micah at the end kind of saved, because Dak would have run it in for a touchdown had he not tackled him. So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
agreed. But phenomenal game. 80 points, great game. I mean, offensively, phenomenal. Defensively, we have a little to talk about.
Yeah. I think more so at Green Bay than we do Dallas, because we kind of already know Dallas has problems defensively. Green Bay coming into this game, the talk was, their defense is amazing. They haven't given up as many points. They shut down Detroit. They shut down Cleveland, even though Cleveland ended up winning that game. And then they give up 40 to Dallas on a Sunday night.
So here's what I'm going to say, okay? First of all, I heard in the radio tonight a stat. Green Bay has not given up a double-digit lead in the last 4 minutes of any game since 1967. And they did that against Cleveland last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dallas did a phenomenal job at scouting them and finding weaknesses in Green Bay's defense. Phenomenal job by the coaching staff.
And you're welcome, rest of the NFL, by the way.
Yeah, because now the blueprint's there. Now Dallas is giving everybody the blueprint as to what to do, basically.
You basically double Micah, run at him, and then throw it into the gaps in their defense. So
Yeah, no question. Great job by the Dallas coaching staff scouting out the Green Bay weaknesses tonight. Excellent. 40 points against Green Bay. Phenomenal.
And that blocked extra point was definitely a turning point emotionally, especially for Dallas, because they were emotionally out. They were done. It seemed like they were giving up. It seemed like everything was done. They were already throwing in the towel. You get the blocked extra point, return it for 2 points. All of a sudden, next drive you get a touchdown. Next drive you get a forced fumble, and then a touchdown off of that to take the lead at halftime. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, we can hang with these guys.
Yeah, it turned the momentum for the rest of the first half and into the third quarter, for sure. I don't know what happened to Green Bay's defense in the last 3 minutes of the first half, but they just basically looked like they gave up. Because Dak drives them down, scores a touchdown, 13-9, and then within a minute and a half of game time, they scored another touchdown. So I don't know what Green Bay's defense was doing tonight. I have no idea. But they need to solve some things on defense. Because if they don't, a team like Detroit, when they go to Detroit, is just gonna pound them into submission. So they got to figure some things out on defense here. They're not playing well right now, at all.
You lost Devontae Wyatt early in this game. Micah was in and out of the lineup, of course, with his back problems. He was basically, other than the one play, he was a non-factor all night.
Agreed. I totally agree. He got the sack in overtime, the obligatory sack of Dak that we all knew he was going to get at some point. But other than that, he was very quiet. 4 tackles, I think, 1 sack. Quiet night for Micah. Very quiet on his return to Dallas. So,
at the very least, it's not a loss, but it's not a win either. So, if it's a 40-point tie, I'll take it.
Yeah, I would too if I'm in Dallas' situation. For Green Bay, it's not ideal. It really is not ideal.
Because now you don't have an advantage as far as you're expected to win your division. Now you've kind of lost that advantage over teams like Detroit, teams like Minnesota if they get it going. I mean, technically it's not another loss, so you could also have the advantage in that regard, but it's not something you would want to have on your resume right now.
No, agreed. For Green Bay, somebody fighting for the division, not ideal. For somebody like Dallas, who's fighting for a wild card spot, it's a good tie because now if they go, say, 9-7-1, that tie may get them in. So that's a huge tie for them tonight. Not ideal for fans, but I mean, you're not ideal for people like you who are having anxieties that's going on tonight.
And think about it. All of this is their struggles on the road, because you remember at home against Washington they looked really good. At home against Detroit they looked really good defensively, albeit they kind of played with their food a little bit. But on the road in Cleveland, you give up 13 unanswered in the fourth quarter, and then you give up 40 on the road in Dallas.
I think a pass-first offense is Green Bay's kryptonite. I think they're going to have a tough time. And Dallas is by far a pass-first offense. I mean, if CD is there tonight, do they win?
I think so, probably. Yeah.
Although
I will say George Pickens played the CD Lamb role quite well tonight.
He did. Full credit to George Pickens.
It might have been his best game of his career tonight.
I'm trying to go back to Pittsburgh and think, yeah, it probably was. and they needed him. They needed every catch of his tonight.
Mhm.
So I don't know what the schedule is coming up. Dallas always has a tough schedule around this time.
Green Bay. By the way, they have the Bengals at home next week. Or no, they're on a bye week next week. And
And
then
then
they
they
have,
get the Bengals.
and then they got the Bengals out, so they get the early week 5 bye. That's not good.
No,
That's not good.
That's not ideal for them.
You
Not
got
at all.
You got the Bengals at home, and then you got to go to Arizona and to Pittsburgh right after that.
So I would say the Bengals in Arizona game they should be able to win. Pittsburgh, I don't know. We'll see what Pittsburgh is at that time before we.
It'll be Jordan Love versus Aaron Rodgers for the first time.
Yep. And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers will be jumping out of his skin for that game. So,
well, for the Cowboys, it kind of lightens up a little bit. You go to New York to play the Jets. You go to Carolina to play the Panthers, and then you got Washington at home. So you've got 3 winnable games there because Washington did not look good today against Atlanta.
no, I think Jaden Daniels needs to be back at quarterback again. I think Mariota showed his warts, so to speak. And McLaurin wasn't there either. So that's a weapon you're taking out. Debo had a phenomenal game. I watched most of that game today. They don't have a running game right now. That's what's going to kill them. Is the running game. They have none.
And that's what kind of saved us tonight is our running game. So
I agree. I totally agree. Dallas played great in offense, except stop throwing to Brian Flournoy, please, and Hunter Lemke. I mean, please, come on. Can we get Ferguson more catches and Javante some catches out of the backfield?
I mean, yeah, that would have been nicer to see. You're getting Jaden Blue back next week, so and now that Sanders is down, that could be helpful getting him back next week.
Yeah, Javante can't do it on his own. He needs help, so that'll be the help.
So yeah, and then there's also the fact that Guyton went out in this game. No word on what's wrong with him, but you had the backup left tackle there who did a really good job against Micah up until overtime, but still held his ground. You don't have Tyler Booker right now. I think he's going to miss the next couple weeks. Ezra Raku, who is another rookie, played well tonight. Got a couple pressures on Jordan Love, and again that offensive line. If that offensive line struggled the way they did with Dallas a little bit tonight, I would hate to see what happens when you have Trey Hendrickson in 2 weeks.
So I think they can be fine. I think they'll do the same thing against Hendrickson as they did against Micah tonight. So I think they could be fine. As the ESPN plays on, that means Allen's up on draft picks. Here's my hot take. CD comes back for the Washington game. He doesn't play against the Jets. I don't think they're going to need him against the Jets. I don't think they're going to need him against Panthers. I think Washington will be the game you see him. So I think if they can win the next 2 and CD comes back and a couple of those injured guys come back, Dallas could go on a little run here.
Yeah.
Which would be really great.
Because then you start the run of you go to Denver and to Vegas 2 out of 3 weeks with Arizona on a Monday night squished in. You have back-to-back Monday night games. What the heck? Actually,
Arizona and Vegas? Is Vegas the other one?
You got Arizona on a Monday night, a bye week, and then Vegas on a Monday night.
Yeah. In Vegas or in Dallas?
In Vegas. That it won't matter because there's still going to be a dedicated Cowboy following.
No doubt. So I will say Dallas will be around 500, if not over 500, when that Vegas game comes up, because they got a nice schedule right now. They got a soft landing right now.
I don't know what Sports PSP. Oh, shout out to them, by the way, and also Undisputed Champ. I have no idea what Matt LaFleur was thinking on that. Like he's lucky that ball bounced in the end zone with 1 second left. Otherwise, if Jordan Love sails that ball into the balcony, that's game over.
Yeah, agreed.
Like Matt LaFleur in his that coaching decision. You know what it reminded me of, Scott? It reminded me of Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, and I can't think Matt LaFleur standing on the sidelines going, hey, if we get stopped at any point, let's kick a field goal and go home with a tie.
Because
I
remember,
can't
you
think
only
he's
have
thinking
two.
that.
You only have two timeouts in overtime. Like
Yes.
you don't have
Yeah.
a third timeout to work with, and I think he kind of forgot that.
And I think if you remember, the drive started very slow for Green Bay.
40-40 new scoregami, second highest tie in NFL history.
Yep. Yep. So I think a lot of Green Bay drives in the second half started very slowly, and then they got into the drive,
Mhm.
and that worries me on offense if I'm Green Bay. Josh Jacobs, great, good night, not great night, good night, but I still think those drives are starting really slow, and they're 2nd and 10, 2nd and 8, 3rd and 5, and you're not gonna be successful in the NFL if you're 3rd and 5 a lot of times,
And
and not like
also,
3rd and 2.
that second quarter early on, they got into penalty trouble, which helped Dallas get back into the game too. And that's what killed them against Cleveland a week
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, yeah. I think the way Romeo Dobbs was playing tonight, I thought they would go more to him.
He only had 58 yards. He only had 6 catches for 58, but he had the 3 touchdowns.
But didn't it
Like,
seem every big throw they needed down near the end zone, it was Romeo Dobbs that was getting it and not
yeah,
anybody else? So
yeah.
to me, I think every big throw, Jordan Love has supreme confidence and
I'm
supreme comfort in
surprised
him.
they didn't go to Tucker Craft as much tonight. Like
That's
Tucker
the other
Craft,
thing.
tight ends usually kill us.
Yep,
Like,
that's the other thing is I think Tucker Kraft should have been involved early. Golden got hit that pass, loved the Golden, and it went for what 30 yards or something very early in the game. And I thought, okay, here's the breakout for Golden, and it never happened. He never got him back to him, and that's the problem. Jordan Love he doesn't go back to guys when he should, and to me that's the problem.
like like Malik Heath only had 1 catch tonight. A couple other guys only had a couple targets tonight. Like, I get it, you're missing 2 wide receivers, 2 of your better wide receivers, but you got to do kind of like what Dak and Dallas did. You got to get everybody involved.
Yeah, where was Dontavian Wicks for most of the night? Very silent tonight. That was another problem. He was supposed to be the Jaden Reed guy to pick, to pick up the slack for them, and he's just not doing it. So Green Bay needs to go back to the drawing board. Josh Jacobs was dominant last year. He's not as dominant this year because he's not being thrown the ball on swing passes as much. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe you need to go to Josh Jacobs a lot more. So
I think the tie is symbolic of how this Micah trade actually turned out, or how it's going to potentially turn out. Because for Green Bay right now, it's working out great for them because it's helping their defense a lot. The problem is that when Micah gets doubled like he did tonight, he's literally non-factor, and it kind of kills their momentum on defense. I think they got to figure something out with him and get him more involved in more plays. That back injury might be more detrimental than we think.
I was just gonna say that maybe his back is injured a lot more than even we think, and maybe this is what he only can do, best he can do out there. I don't
And
know.
and just think too, if the Packers can't screw up some wins here, if they continue to struggle and screw off some can't get any wins, that draft pick gets higher for Dallas too at the end of the
Right,
day.
right. Now look at the last 2 games. Cleveland, inferior team to Green Bay. Dallas, probably a little bit less inferior to Green Bay.
Less inferior, but still inferior.
Right. And they lose to Cleveland, and they tie Dallas.
And you tie Dallas.
So Washington was probably even keel with them, and they beat them up pretty good. Detroit is probably on the same level as them, and they beat them up pretty good.
Detroit just got slow out of the box, and I think they're finally starting to hit their stride.
Yes.
But here in the end of the season, you still got Philadelphia coming in, and they've looked great. You've got to go to the Giants, who now with a rookie quarterback looked pretty good today. Vikings, depending on how they look, their defense is pretty good. And then you go to Detroit, and you've got 2 with the Bears, and the Bears aren't pushovers this year.
Go back to the Giants for a minute. Malik Neighbors, torn ACL, done for the year. that's a killer. It's a killer. It's
That's a
absolute killer.
killer. But I think the only reason I think they'll be okay is because you're going to have this is kind of the similar formula that you had with our 2016 team. Albeit, yes, you still had Des Bryant healthy, but you had two young rookies, Cam Scadaboo and Jackson Dart, who are going to lead this team, and they're feeding off the energy from each other right now.
Yeah, I can see that, but still, when you need to pass the ball, who are you throwing it to? Darius Slayton, Wandale Robinson. I mean,
I
no
mean,
good.
one of those
For me,
guys,
it's no good.
one of those guys is going to have to step up.
It's going to have to be Wandale.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have to be Wandale. If he's not the leader of that receiving core, the Giants might not win many more games. I mean, it's a tough break. I mean, Malik Neighbors was everything in that passing game to them, and now you don't have that. So,
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Cowboys will go to New York to face the Jets. That's a noon game, and Packers are on a bye week. They're the week 5 bye, along with Philadelphia, I believe, who for second year in a row gets a week 5 bye.
and who'd Vegas play? Chicago's on week 5 bye. That's another team that's got the bye.
Mm-hmm.
Which they don't want right now because they got 2 wins in a row. So they don't want it, but unfortunately they got it. And there's one more
Yep.
team, and I forget who it is. I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember right now.
I'm liking some of these matchups next week. You got Detroit going to Cincinnati. Of course, if Joe Burrow was healthy, that'd be a little bit more intriguing. Washington, LA Chargers could be a fun matchup. Monday night, Kansas City, Jacksonville, with how good Jacksonville looked today, especially on defense. That could be a little bit more interesting now. But yeah, we'll talk about the Sunday night game here in a second. But your week 4 game ball, Scott, who you got giving your 2 game balls to?
So my first game ball goes to Matt Stafford, 375 yards, 3 touchdowns. This is an old guy who has an awful back, like Jerry from Dallas has. So it's very good to see Matthew Stafford do this when people were doubting that he could ever do it again. So that would be my first game ball. There's so many. Second game ball. I'm going to sound like a homer, but I'm going to give it to the Patriots. There was late night practices this week for the Patriots. Were we going to see Trevion Henderson get unleashed a little bit this week? And the answer was yes. The Patriots just came out and they should have beat Pittsburgh last week and they didn't. And this week they just totally dominated Carolina. Carolina went up 6-0. And then the Patriots put 35 straight points on them. So kudos to them. Kudos to Mike Vrabel. He pushed all the right buttons this week at practice. And they had an easy win, which we haven't seen around these parts for a couple of years. So give them credit. They deserve a lot of credit. 2-2 right now, which is good. And guess where they go next week?
Hey yo, Buffalo! Hey yo, Buffalo!
But let me give a third game ball. Dak Prescott tonight. Phenomenal performance with no CD. Got Pickens involved. Got Ferguson involved a little bit. Rushing touchdown, which I don't remember the last time he had a rushing touchdown. It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that he's talked about. Like he has to use more of. He has to use his legs more, especially down in the red zone.
And I think it was going to take a few weeks because of the injury he had last year. He's coming back from it. So,
and remember, Micah not tackled him in overtime. They score on that touchdown.
They win the game. They win the game because if they score a touchdown, the game is over. So, 40 points without CD, without a backup running back, basically, and the coaching staff calling plays to guys that should be on a practice squad someplace. So, Flournoy had a good game for him, but you got to get Turpin involved more. You got to get Tolbert involved more. You got to get Ferguson. I know he had a bunch of catches and a touchdown, but in the red zone, that's Dak's guy. And in that last red zone possession where they kicked the field goal in overtime, Ferguson didn't even get a look. So.
Yeah, didn't get a look to Ferguson or Pickens in that.
Pickens. Yeah, and I wish they had. So, but Dak had a great game tonight without his number one. So,
Mhm. Yeah. So for me, first one, if I go back to the scores here, excuse me. First one I'm going to give to Michael Penix. Um, Goose egg last week. Did not play well. Got shut out by Carolina. This week, much better showing. Much better showing from him. Hey, Drake London's out of witness protection finally.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Kyle Pitts is out of witness protection finally. Bijan, of course, had a great game, but Michael Penix, phenomenal game. 20, 26, 313, 2 touchdowns. They basically dominated Washington all game long. Washington made it interesting late, but they were still able to hold on and get the win.
Yep.
So great game by them. Second one, I'm actually going to go opposite of that. I'm going to give it to Jordan Love because when he needed to make a play, he made a play. So great quarterback duel tonight between him and Dak. Again, kind of like what you were mentioning with the play calling with Schottenheimer. Get it to Romeo Doubs more. If he's going to be your guy, get it to him more. Get it to your tight end more. Kraft was kind of a non-factor tonight. But other than that, great game from the quarterback sides on both sides. And then I'll throw a third one in there as well. And I mean, it was only a matter of time, right, Scott, before we saw the real Patrick Mahomes show up.
Yep.
It was only a matter of time. Probably his best game in a couple years. And in a desperation time where you're 1-2, you don't want to go 1-3. You're at home. I know the home crowd helps a lot, but you still got to find a running game, though. Still got to find a running game.
There's one Chiefs fan out there that's as reasonable as any Chiefs fan I know, and that's Tanner. And when they went 0-2, Tanner wasn't worried at all about them. And sure enough, they're 2-2 right now, and they just blitzed the Baltimore Ravens. Say, what the heck, Ravens?
You want to talk about a defense that's struggling right now?
Baltimore, yeah.
Baltimore might be the worst defense in the league. Or they're right up there with it.
Yeah, they're bottom 5 defense right now. I would agree with 100% with that. Until they figure things out, this is going to stop them from winning the Super Bowl. Everybody's like, oh, it's Lamar, you can't win. No, it's the defense. It's the defense. Lamar's fine. Lamar had his worst game in probably 2 years today. And I don't lay any blame on him with it. So.
Mm-hmm. And thankfully, because it looked like, because I noticed this pre-games, a lot of the higher paid players were kind of zoned out during the pre-game speech and whatnot, like Diggs, of course. But I think he came back in once he saw that you had a puncher's chance in this game. He came back in, had a pretty decent game for his standards. So I just don't want to see Kyrie Elam in there anymore. I don't care if you have to get the popcorn vendor from level 3 to come down and play corner, as long as it's not Kyrie Elam.
I'm worried Schottenheimer's letting the players run the asylum here. I'm a lot worried about it. To not see Diggs for the first, or if he was out there, not noticeable.
I think that was a decision. I read this during the game. It was a decision by Shoddy to bench him from the start, because of how he kind of gave up last week, and
he basically said he gave up last week. Basically, without saying it, he basically said it. So
he basically benched him from the start. But at the end of the game, you had both Bland and Diggs out there, which is what you want. You want your 2 best corners out there. I like what the young slot did tonight, but we need our corners to get healthy again. And now we might have just lost Malik Hooker for the year. It doesn't look good for him.
Yeah. I don't care if you give up catches. Make it difficult for the receiver. Don't just give it up. Make it difficult. And maybe Diggs and Bland will start doing that now. Maybe especially Diggs, because he's got the attention of the coaches now. In a bad way. So
Yep. Yep. Maybe that'll start happening soon. But before we go, Scott, let's preview next week's Sunday night matchup. Your Patriots on the road in Buffalo. This might actually be a better matchup than people think. Again, kind of like tonight's matchup was. Not many people thought Dallas had a chance. Ended up being a 40-40 tie. Patriots looked really good, albeit against a lopsided Carolina team. But a lot of good coming out of this game, and the mentality they have right now, I could easily see them going into Buffalo and giving the Bills a game.
What happened to the Bills today? The Saints were in that game almost the entire game until the last 4 minutes of the game. Should not have been that difficult for the Bills with that talent. The Bills receiving core is not as good as I think everybody thought. Keon Coleman had a terrible game today. Kincaid had only one catch, I believe, for 28-yard touchdown. I think that Christian Gonzalez is probably going to shadow Khalil Shakir most of the game because that seems like that's the best receiving weapon that Josh Allen has. So I think you're going to see a lot of Josh Allen running. Yeah, I do agree with you. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. Patriots and Bills are always close games. So I still like the Bills to win the game, but I think the Patriots can play well. And Stephon Diggs goes back home, so it's a revenge game next week.
Should be a very entertaining Sunday night game, hopefully, because that'd be two in a row that we get. So
Yeah. Not 40-40 overtime, please. Let's finish it.
let's not do that
a
again.
little earlier than midnight in Boston. So
Right. Let's not go through that again, shall we? All right, Scott. Any last things? Any last notes from Week 4 before we end off, sir?
not really. I mean, it was basically what we thought it was going to be this week. I don't think we had any upsets this week. I don't remember. So
Other than the Giants beating the Chargers.
Jacksonville winning in San Francisco was a big win for them too. So I think the next 3 weeks is going to tell us a lot about what teams are all about. So good luck.
Yep, for sure. Well, we'll be back next weekend to talk about the Patriots-Bills game and, of course, everything from Week 5. Tuesday, check out the Rec Room as we'll be talking about everything from this week in sports, from the finals of the WNBA potentially being set by then to the start of the Major League Baseball wild card playoffs. That's all been settled today. Of course, we'll talk some college football, NFL, all that good stuff. Scott and I will be back Wednesday night to talk with Jonathan to talk some baseball. We'll rank the playoff teams that are still in, and then we'll give our predictions for the World Series. And then, of course, lock it in next week, which I don't know how bad or good I did today, but, I'm assuming 2 or 3, 3 and 2 or somewhere around that range.
Yeah, I think we all went around 3 and 2 this week. So,
but yeah, should be a good time. Anything else, Scott, before we end off?
all set. Everybody have a good night. And this is Jerry from Dallas signing off, people. Have a good night.
Guys, have a wonderful night. We'll be back next Sunday. Until then, love y'all. Stay safe. Take care.